Bonjour everyone. Okay, today's content is a little different, in the sense that we are gonna do a small visit to an old action RPG, which happens to be the first action RPG I ever played. Today's topic is Torchlight 2, as that was the game that stole my time in this past weekend. However, first I need to establish some disclaimers. First disclaimer, this is the modded version of Torchlight 2. Specifically, we are playing with synergies and some other cosmetic stuff. Second disclaimer, I know that the modded version does not represent the actual game, so here's the thing. I was gonna do a basic non-modded Torchlight 2 playthrough and I almost felt asleep getting past the first act. So instead I decided to do the modded version because it's more hectic and engaging than the standard Torchlight 2, at least in my opinion. So, moving on, why the heck did I come to Torchlight 2? Out of all games, especially considering Division 2's newest DLC just released, which actually looks pretty interesting, or experimenting with stuff in Path of Exile in preparation for the next leak, despite the fact that we don't know what's getting buffed, nerfed or changed until Thursday of next week. You see, I intended to give Wolgen, I don't know, a go when it was released, but after seeing the colossal shit show that game ended up being, I still craved guns and different gameplay to Path of Exile, which is why I turned to Torchlight 2. And holy crap, is it weird to change games in the same genre? The rules are different, the language used is different, the mechanics are different, and it's like entering uncharted territory for the first time ever. And a moment of total honesty, I played this way back in 2015, after I first got it, and I will admit that I had zero clue of what I was doing back then. So this past weekend was me attempting to change that zero knowledge and actually play the game correctly, which is where I saw some things that I don't think are bad game design but rather outdated mechanics. But before we go there, hey, if you are new around here and you end up enjoying the content, be sure to hit the subscribe button. I mostly post Path of Exile on this channel, with the occasional outlander like this video, and if you're into Path of Exile or hearing the ramblings of a dude about games, hey, be sure to join us in the channel, it's free after all. Anyways, coming back to the topic at hand, I feel like there are some things that simply did not age well inside this game. For example, let's take a look at lifesteal / mana steal. They exist in the game, but they only work with the default attack. Yeah, you heard that right. Single target, left click, one enemy at a time. While the lifesteal can be forgiving thanks to the efficiency of life potions, it's the mana steal that has me scratching my head. Your skills are pretty expensive from the get-go, and the only ways to sustain them are either spamming mana potions or having lots of mana regen. And it kinda gets old rather quickly to hear your character complain about mana. From my own research and experience, there is no reduced mana cost in the game. So to build your character in the end, you're better off not over leveling the skill, or else you're gonna start suffering from mana starvation pretty often. Another thing that has me quite perplexed is gear requirements, and for that we're gonna take a look at the character I'm playing, an Outlander. Originally I was gonna use Rapid Fire as my everything skill, and at rank 10 it deals 43% of your weapon's DPS for damage. Okay, not bad, right? And it requires either a bow, a crossbow, a pistol or a shotgun E. But you see, here's the thing, rapid fire scales from weapon DPS, and for that the stat strength, which is gonna increase all weapon damage and crit damage, is our best bet, as it's gonna help us get the most out of the skill. However, you quickly realize that the weapons that the skill requires need dexterity to be equipped. And more often than not, that dexterity requirement is not low, it's actually pretty high. Of course, your other alternative to equip the weapon is being a certain level, but while leveling that may not be a good option, as you're probably gonna find something better by then. I don't know, I was befuddled by this wording and the stat requirement rules. My other tidbit of annoyances comes from the lack of a tooltip. Yes, there is character stats in a stat sheet screen thingy, but it doesn't tell me anything about my skills, potency or effectiveness, especially when I decided to swap from Rapid Fire to Venomous Hell for the DPS skill, as the latter is dealing 74% of my weapon's DPS as poison damage, and while Synergies adds spawnable target dummies, it doesn't satisfy the need for numbers. My last complaint or negative thought is name lock, as in this game locking into targets is way too pronunciated. It's pretty common to try and walk away from a group of monsters while your character is still magnetized to them, firing the default attack. It gets old rather quickly actually. However, this game is 8 years old, and as far as I am concerned, it didn't get any official DLC or major updates. It released, and that was it. So I am willing to look past the flack I am giving it. None of it is aggravating or game breaking, it's just minor stuff, inconveniences if you will, that you don't see in other action RPGs like Path of Exile, and I am aware that both games are vastly different, but they share a genre and some comparison benefits and downsides can be pointed out. which is why I'm gonna talk about the positive stuff now. And the first thing is actually the graphics. Yes, this game is cartoony, colorful, and a bit outdated by today's standards, but holy hell, some of those designs are pretty, especially the Netherrim, that final boss, pretty good. Besides monster design, the armor is actually pretty cool as well. While I am not 100% sure of where modded gear starts and vanilla gear ends, since I was playing Synergies, I really dig a lot of these designs. They look unique in their own right, and while you'll be stuck mix and matching some of them due to the bonuses they give, I still think they look great in this day and age. The second thing I like is gear sets. This is something I wanna see someday in Path of Exile, and while you could argue that Bestiary and Abyss gear counts as gear sets, they're not at the same degree as the gear in this game. Sure, not everything is groundbreaking overpowered, but hell if it isn't fun to mix and match your gear to get the most out of it. Especially considering that the skill tree is more of a skill sheet and the stats are sprinkled around, gear sets really highlight the power of your character and are a fun thing to mess around with. Next are the guns. Yes, if you wanna mess around with guns and stats, there's Division, Borderlands, and Destiny to some degree, but in classic top-down action RPG territory, the guns in this game are great. While the variety pretty much boils down to a pistol or a shotgun, they are fun, and holy heck, they simply are the highlight for me, especially coming from Path of Exile. I'd love to have guns and skills associated with them in Path of Exile, but I know that's a weird request as I don't know how well they'd work over there. Still, guns and their respective skills are the reason why I decided to reinstall and play through the game again this past weekend, and I had a lot of fun experimenting with them. The other thing I like is the music. Now, I know, it's repetitive, super repetitive, but I don't know, I actually really dig the chill music on towns or the boss fight tunes, especially that acoustic guitar here and there, so freaking good. Another thing I like that is not present in Path of Exile is mod support and offline play. I know that those will never come to PoE unless that game goes pay to play and they set out rules for offline characters and modding, but in this game I feel like modding is such a highlight that past the first playthrough of the vanilla game, there is little reason to not give mods a try. Synergies, while apparently incomplete, is a good enough add-on that felt refreshing to play with. The game being offline is also pretty good because I could install it on my laptop, and if I were to go to a place without internet, I could continue my character there, and whenever I come back home, I will just need to sync the character to the Steam servers and continue the adventure another day on another device. I know, mod support and offline play are just super revolutionary concepts, but hey, the game has them. The last thing I found positive and refreshing is not being tied to an ongoing economy unlike Path of Exile. Yes, I know you can play solo self-found in PoE, but I don't know, it feels natural here, and especially with the Synergies mod, getting the character isn't a hassle. It feels quite nice to not keep count of currency or gear pending of trade to continue my adventures, and thanks to that feeling I was hooked on Torchlight 2 these past few days. Which brings me to a conclusion, or something like that. While some things in the game feel outdated by today's action RPG standards, the game is in no way, shape or form bad, or unplayable, or terrible, or trash. Nope, none of that. It's a lot of fun, and learning its mechanics while a bit sketchy in the beginning becomes simple enough later on that actually motivates you to try new things in the game. Now granted, I was playing with the modded version, which kinda does ease things out a bit, especially in the respec department, but I didn't pay it no mind because it wasn't really game breaking or outright overpowered, and I personally do recommend playing this with mods because the experience can go from okay to actually pretty fun. Now, don't take this video as me bashing Path of Exile. No, that's my main game and that's the main game around here. This video was me experimenting with mechanics and stuff from a game in the same genre, and that's always a good thing because it helps you appreciate the other game for what it is and what it offers. Not everything is perfect and everything has it all, and thankfully Torchlight 2 provides enough variety to feel refreshing. If you noticed, I didn't talk too much about the endgame stuff, as I think this game's endgame is actually the weakest point and it's lacking on depth and meaningful reward. I didn't engage much with it, my focus was just experimenting with the skills and guns, so that experience will most likely vary from person to person. So yeah, Torchlight 2, give it a try if you can, especially seeing as it goes for cheap whenever there is a Steam sale, though I'm pretty sure that you can get a key for it somewhere in the internet for even less, but that's gonna be up to you. And that's it for today's topic. Originally I had planned to post something else until the Lyrium League, but some real life stuff is going to interfere with the release of that league, which is gonna prevent me from playing on Friday, and that means that I need to jump back into Path of Exile and test ideas for possible league starters. Of course, my league starter video will come out on next Thursday after the patch notes drop, but I still gotta test things here and there. Anyways, I wanna thank you for watching today's video, and if you enjoyed it and are not subscribed, be sure to join us on the channel, it's free content after all. So yeah, that's it for this one, and I hope to catch you on the next video. Peace out.